I'm John Gotobed from finalbossfight.co.uk. I'm here with Stephen Reid, who has just given me his business card so I can remember what his job is. And he is Senior Online Community Manager for Star Wars The Old Republic and BioWare. Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
So we're going to just have a quick chat about Star Wars The Old Republic. So, one of the things that's really interesting about the Old Republic and BioWare in general is the great lore behind the game. How is this going to be transferred into the MMO field?
In a few ways. Obviously, you know, we're dealing with the Star Wars universe, or the Star Wars galaxy, depending on how you want to put it, and as it is in a galaxy far, far away. So we have an awful lot of stuff that we can draw on, you know, but at the same time it's set about 3,500 years before the movie started, in the Old Republic era, which was of course explored previously by Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. So
Both very good games.
Yeah, so we have a certain amount of latitude in what we want to do. We're also sort of drawing on those games, and you know, there will be some connections between the two, although the Old Republic takes place about 300 years after the events of Knights of the Old Republic. Right. So yeah, we've got that, and yeah, there's an awful lot of lore in the game. We have a game system called the Codex. As you go through, you're going to unlock more information, or just information generally, about the sort of people, places, and that sort of thing that you see. And one of the cool things is that Codex is actually class-based. So right. there'll be information, some information that everybody will get, but there's also class-specific information that you can pick up, right. Which certain other classes don't necessarily know about. Right. So yeah, you know, that's kind of all the ways that we've been doing it. But you know, we like to say that this is actually the single largest piece of Star Wars canon ever created in one shot. Obviously, it took a long time to make. Yeah, so when it's released, you know, anyone who's a fan of the Star Wars universe is going to find out an awful lot of stuff about its early history, really.
Great. And the chat system in the game, for the multiplayer flashpoints, we've seen that each character is going to be able to select an option. Mm-hmm. And then there's a dice roll mechanic? Yeah, basically, when you're in a flashpoint, which is a group, essentially a group adventure, up to 4 of you together in the one group, and you all basically, when you do one of our multiplayer dialogues, when we've got the classic BioWare sort of 3-choice mechanic, you'll all sort of roll a dice to see who gets to be the one taking right. that choice, which can lead to some interesting situations, especially when you know, you have people who want to go light side versus other people who want to go dark side, and you know, some conflicting choices and some always classic, you know, role-playing scenarios. You know, we always like to think about the tabletop role-playing games where you used to sit around and someone would complain that the paladin was being a goody two-shoes, and the you know, the guy playing the thief was always being a scumbag, and you kind of, you know, get that situation while in multiplayer conversations, which is a lot of fun. You know, sometimes the smuggler is flirting with the contact that you're trying to deal with, or the Jedi Knight insists on being incredibly good, whereas the you know, maybe the trooper is wanting to be a bit more mean, for example. Those multiplayer conversations kick off and allow you to gain social points, right. Which is another sort of form of in-game currency, essentially. You'll be able to spend social points at social vendors and gain various kinds of stuff. And how does this work with the dark side points and light side points? Does this, if somebody selects the dark side option, does the entire team get punished if they happen to win the dice roll?
No, actually. The way that it works is that we sort of half-jokingly say that the universe knows what choice you wanted to make, you know?
Right.
So while the story consequence will play out, you don't get sort of penalised with dark side points if you made the light side choice. So yeah, you can't really grief somebody else in that particular regard. And this all only applies to multiplayer conversations within sort of multiplayer group content. If you're on your own class quest, then you're always in control of the decisions, even if you go in with other people right. on those quests. Because your class quest is your own personal story, and we obviously don't want other people, you know, getting to make those choices for you. So yeah, it's been designed to kind of be a lot of fun, but not to be something that people are going to end up briefing each other in those conversations.
Great, because that's something I really wanted to know how that was going to work in this setting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So what have you been actually showing off at the show these last couple of days?
Well, this is only the second show that we've done in the UK. In fact, the second show in as many weeks. We were at Game Fest last weekend. So here at Eurogamer Expo, we're showing off Origin Worlds, which is the early parts of the game. For a lot of people, this is the first time they've ever been hands-on with a game, so we wanted to get that early play experience in there. And at the same time, we've been showing PvP, and mostly we've been showing the Hutball Warzone, which has been popular, and a lot of people have been wanting to play that, so we've mostly been showing that off. Occasionally we've done the older M Warzone as well. Excuse me. But Hutball is quick and it plays well and it's relatively simple to understand, so we've been trying to show that off as much as we can.
And you've been getting a lot of good feedback?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. People seem to be enjoying it. As I say, for a lot of people it's their first time hands-on with the game. They've read about it, they've watched videos, but they haven't gotten to play it yet.
Their hands on
yeah. So that's been really exciting. It's always great to introduce people to the game.
So if you're playing light side, dark side, are there any story points where you can cross over?
You can't. You can go light side or dark side at any point, and you can gain and lose light side or dark side tiers, as we call them. But there is no sort of. Just to be clear, like as a member of the Galactic Republic, you're not automatically light side.
Right.
You can make dark side choices, and you can play, a dark Jedi or a light side smuggler or whatever. So you're not automatically, in one camp or another, but you don't get to move from one faction to the other.
Does that work the same with the Sith? Can you play a light side Sith warrior?
Yeah, you absolutely could if you wanted to. You can be the one that kicks puppies and wants to murder little children, or you can be the one that's struggling with their own tormented sense of morals. Whatever you want to do, and that applies to all of the classes. It's pretty interesting to play, like the light side Sith or indeed the dark side Jedi. Where the Jedi Council, start to sort of ask probing questions about why exactly you had to murder everybody in that village.
Surely some of them weren't evil.
Yeah, maybe, but they want to make sure that you're following the Jedi code, and sometimes dark side choices, conflict with that code, so it can be a little bit tricky.
And so, have we got any advance beta? Is there a date for that yet?
We've been in testing for quite a long time. We've had, relatively speaking, a low number of people through testing so far. And now we're really expanding it as we get towards the launch, which is only really now just about 3 months away. So we'll be adding more and more people from across the world, from Europe as well as America and Canada and other places. So yeah, it's gonna ramp up very, very quickly. We don't really like to talk about specific dates because we don't want to give out a date and then miss it if the worst happens. But we're certainly hopeful it's going to happen pretty soon.
And they announced the other day the dates for the release of the game.
At last.
Can we just get those reiterated for viewers at home?
December 20th in North America and Canada, and December 22nd for essentially the rest of the world, but primarily Europe.
Great. Thanks for having a chat with us.
All right.